Hi, this is Ron Rudzitas, a.k.a. Ron9, from Room 9, Love Battery, Down with People, Vaporland, and Purple Strange. And you're listening to Nothing Shocking, the podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Isn't it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Ron9 from Love Battery.
And Purple Strange.
Yeah.
Promoting the re-release of Dayglo.
Yes.
From Love Battery, of course.
Oh, yeah. And early 90s.
Yep. The band's, I guess, maybe staple.
Yeah, it's one of those bands that I latched onto when the grunge era thing hit. You know, it's like, I mean, everybody was running to Nirvana and Pearl Jam, and I loved all those bands too. But Love Battery struck home with me. I bought all their albums, and I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Let's get to this interview.
All right.
Good night. All right, Ron, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce you my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Ron, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hi, Jeff. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we have so much to talk about tonight. Before we get into all of your music endeavors, let's talk a little bit about your life during the COVID pandemic. How did you deal and keep yourself busy during the COVID lockdown?
Well, crap, you know... It was a hell of a time. My now wife, who at the time was my girlfriend, got a brain tumor, and then my mom died.
Oh no!
Luckily, you know, my wife, God, she got me through it through her courage. But she's doing great now, and boy, just last year, her dad died. So it's been a crazy couple years, and we're both kind of trying to come out of it, you know.
Yeah.
We're at the ocean right now trying to get some R&R after quite a tumultuous and kind of, you know, traumatic couple of years. And
yes.
I'll tell you, the one thing I remember from this lockdown, though, is I was just dying to play with people. I forgot how much I miss playing with other musicians, and the lockdown and the whole COVID thing really brought that home to me. And, you know, Purple Strange, who I'm in that band right now, Jack and Dino and Kurt Danielson from Tad, and Jared Stroud's the lead singer. And the last time we played live, my old friend Scott Vanderpool played drums because our original drummer, he's been kind of hiding out this whole time. He doesn't want to come. He's got a really nice place up north, and of course he's had problems. His mom and dad are having some health issues too, but it was so nice to play a show and to play with those guys and practice. And that's what, other than taking care of family stuff, that was the thing that I really noticed about the lockdown, is just missing people to play music with.
Well, we're glad to hear that things are on the up for you and your wife. But let's talk about the music here. Love Battery's debut album, Dayglo, back in 1992, is being re-released on Jackpot Records. Can you talk a bit more about the reissuing process for the Dayglo album?
Sure. So Jackpot actually got a hold of me about, and that's Isaac from Jackpot. He kind of runs the show there. He got a hold of me maybe close to 3 years ago. And, I was, at the time I was kind of, had correspondence with John Poneman, and I was, they had re-released like the Tad catalog and a bunch of other special reissues. And I was trying to talk him into doing Love Battery. It fell through, but we ended up getting back with Isaac at Jackpot. And ever since started working with him, I have really been impressed. He's got this whole reissue thing down. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at the website, the kind of bands that he's re-releasing, the Wipers, I think the Flaming Groovies should be any day now, and Mudhoney, Green River. Boy, he does it up. Apparently we're going to have 3 different colors of vinyl. And I wrote some liner notes, and there's some extra pictures, and lyrics are included. It's going to be a really cool reissue. And I'm really looking forward to it. We're just waiting for another set of test pressings, because Jack found a little something on side 2 of our first test pressing. But Jack actually remastered it too, and I think it sounds better than ever.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Do you guys got any unreleased songs or any demos that you didn't include on the record that you might release someday?
I was just looking at it today, and it's almost exactly 40 minutes, which is kind of the optimum for sound quality on an LP. Maybe in the future, we'll see if this goes really well with Jackpot. Maybe he'll do some more, and maybe we can have a double album set or something. But right now, I just got to set my sights on this, and it's pretty exciting.
Wow. So cool.
I read in 2018, you guys did a reunion of the Dayglo lineup and played some live shows and played the album in its entirety. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Sure. It was our friend Ben London, who is in the band Stag, and every summer they do this blowout at a local place. It has an outdoor stage, and he came up with he goes, well, I thought back in my mind, what do I want to see? And he said, I want to see Love Battery play Dayglo. And he gave us the opportunity. We knew it would be a really great show because these guys really promoted it well. And I was really impressed. We got the whole crew back together, including Jim Tillman, who is the bass player on that album. And man, it went really well. We did a little live I think we did about 4 or 5 songs for KEXP a couple days before the show and helped promote it. And then we did the show, and it was really an awesome experience.
Oh, so cool.
Any chance of ever releasing a live album for Love Battery?
You know, it's interesting. Kevin was saying, we were talking about all the masters we have, like in our closets and stuff. And Kevin was saying he found the master tape for, there was a Live at the Crocodile benefit CD. I must have been the mid 90s. Well, they recorded, I can't remember if they recorded our whole set or not, but Kevin said he found it, and it was he didn't have any way to play it, but it's a big tape. I'm hoping they have the whole live set on there, and that's just a pipe dream right now, but that's waiting to, maybe someone will feel like doing something. And I remember that was at the end of a tour, so we were playing really well, and so I can't wait to hear it, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. All right, now you have our hopes up.
Yeah, I know.
That's it. Now I have my hopes up. Yeah.
Let's bring this back to the reissue of Dayglo. How many copies will there be on the reissue? And with that being said, is this going to be just available online for online purchases, or where can we find this besides your website?
Well, talking to Isaac, I know that a distributor actually put in a pre-order, so I'm hoping it should make its way around the country to all, what record stores are left. And I think, hopefully you guys will be able to find it somewhere in Chicago. And, that would be optimum. Yeah. I know that the first pressing is going to be 2,500. And then, if that sells out, I believe there's plans on pressing more.
Oh, we are so excited.
Yeah.
Over the years, Dayglo has served as a cult classic in the grunge world, so be it. Can you talk more about the creation of that album back in its day, the original creative process for that album?
Sure. Well, we started off with Tommy Simpson, who was our original bass player, and we found out rather quickly that other countries would not welcome him. One time when we played up in Vancouver, BC, and that was a real problem. Plus, he's an amazing skateboarder. He's a member in high standing of the Jack Skate Club, and he would miss a lot of practice because he was out there playing skate hockey or something, So we ended up, Jason, the drummer, was in a band called Icky Joey with Jim Tillman, and he's going, we got to get Jim in the band. He's amazing. And when we got Jim, that gave us a whole new kick in the ass, creatively and dedication-wise. Jim was available to practice whenever we wanted. And we also started to tour just behind the European import versions of Between the Eyes. We had hooked up with Peter Davis of Creature Booking, and we were able to road test a lot of those songs. I remember we even took off like halfway through the sessions and came back and finished up the sessions. So there was a lot of audience interaction that were involved with creating those arrangements, and I think that really helped us feel very confident in the songs. And I know for myself, it was during the recording of that record that I actually was able to quit my job. And then I took my, I can't remember, I cashed in whatever I had for retirement and kind of lived off of that. And originally, it's an interesting story. We originally, when Sub Pop signed us, we originally started recording the songs at a different studio. But one day, Mark Arm was over, and he was playing these rough mixes that Mudhoney were making at Egg for Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge. And right away, I was super impressed by the energy and the spontaneity of what they were getting there. And plus, it was probably like a quarter of the price of the place we were at. And we just started over at Egg. And that was a huge sense of freedom, because the other studio was one of those places you watch the money with every tick of the clock, the money's just pouring out. And for us at the time, we just weren't used to that. We had worked with Jack at Reciprocal Recording to record the first EP. And that was 8-track. I think side 2 was 16-track by the time we got in there again. But going back to Conrad Uno's Egg Studios, there was just this sense of freedom. And by the way, we had those songs so down from touring behind them. And just once Jim joined the band, we were practicing like 4 nights a week. I mean, just crazy. We were crazy devoted, and it really shows.
That was so cool.
Talk a little bit about your next. You went to Far Gone and then Straight Freak Ticket, one of my favorite albums. Talk a little bit about your writing process, how it changed between evolving into that.
Well, right around the time of Dayglo, my first wife went to Rochester, New York to go to school. She was getting her master's degree in art, but she's actually a teacher now in Brooklyn. And Far Gone kind of reflects this feeling of having this long distance relationship, and kind of, we had, by that time I was actually making a living off the music. I didn't have to have a regular job, and I was very untethered. I was out every night in the bars and the clubs, and Far Gone was really the way I felt at the time.
Yeah.
And I can, looking back, listening to that album, I can sense that kind of alienation and desperation, which always makes good art, And then,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, and then, originally when we got together with Sub Pop, we were just happy to have a contract with them. And then as we started touring, we would start to hear from club owners like, "Oh, well, why isn't Sub Pop promoting you as much as these other guys or whatever?" And we started to feel kind of like not a priority. And so, when obviously after Nevermind took off, we were approached by just, I don't know, probably around 10 record labels who wanted to sign us and were wooing us. And that was really hard to resist, especially with kind of this what we felt was this kind of not being a priority with Sub Pop. And I could be wrong, because frankly, they did step up and pay for Far Gone, which was, at the time cost a bunch of money. Michael Bond, we were doing that at Lenny Kravitz's studio in New Jersey. And, but by that time, the process had started, and we got all these big promises from several labels. And, when Nevermind took off like it did, I think everybody in Seattle, all the musicians, just kind of lost their minds as well. All of a sudden the sky's the limit, whereas before we were just happy to crowd into a van and sleep on people's floors and all this other stuff. But the new label gave us a bunch of money to record. We recorded at an amazing studio just outside of Seattle, Bear Creek. And, the songs, I really like the songs. I know that a lot of our more earlier punk-oriented fans thought we had sold out, and maybe we did. I don't know. I think we were feeling, at least I was feeling pretty comfortable at the time.
Yeah.
And, so they, unfortunately, we had management then who was down in LA, and it felt kind of like all these grassroots ties that we had built up earlier with Sub Pop, especially in Seattle, were slowly being broken. And it was nice. We got to sleep in hotels, and we had a roadie, and we traveled with a sound man. And these were luxuries we never had before, but, it just didn't take off. And like a lot of labels, if it doesn't take that was the thing about Sub Pop. If they committed to you, at least they'd put out more records. But these guys, that album didn't do very well, and they just dropped us. And now the label, which was Atlas, which was a subsidiary of A&M, I think doesn't even exist anymore. And that was a hard pill to swallow. The next album, Confusion A Go-Go, that was actually demos for the next major label record. And they said we could have them, and we said, okay. Well, I talked to Daniel House at CZ Records, and he was willing to put it out. And we had a friend who did the artwork, and we went with that because we could.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. I kind of want to take this another direction. In 2014, Vaporland was created. You joined forces with your bandmate from Love Battery, Kevin Wentworth, Kurt Danielson of Tad, Garrett Shalvik of Fluid, and then Katie Scarberry. Is that how I say her last name, Scarberry?
Yeah. And that she's actually my wife now. We were,
Cool. Nice.
But that was amazing. Originally, we were just going to be another incarnation of Love Battery, because Kevin and I had kept going for, we were doing local gigs every once in a while, and it seemed like every time we did a gig, we had a new bass player and drummer. And this was going to be a Love Battery project. Boy, as soon as we got together, there was this insane chemistry that we felt the band needed its own identity. And God, those guys are such great musicians. And that album, we actually recorded it in my basement. We practiced in my basement, and by that time I was working on trying to get a digital, home studio going. And so, I engineered it, and then Jack mastered it and kind of saved it from my over engineering. I love to layer stuff, and I had I think Cubase, and which was the audio software, and if the processor could handle 30 tracks, there would be 30 tracks.
Well, if I could pick one song off that album, Threads is my favorite track. Can you talk a little bit more about the writing and recording of that track?
Sure. I kind of came up with the guitar parts, and I knew I wanted Katie to sing it. And then Katie came in with the lyrics and the vocal melody, and that thing just took off. And our creativity, it just felt so good playing that one. Again, that was, I feel really vindicated that I had Katie, who at the time, it was just, I wanted to make music with her, and I knew she had a lot of talent and creativity. She also is an amazing painter. It kind of, I felt that was kind of like, okay, everybody knows we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and that, this nepotism's going on, but actually that one really proved that, everybody was a valuable member of that band. And I love, speaking of Katie, when we would do harmonies, which are very plentiful on that album, it really, just elevated the songs.
Oh, it's fantastic work.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to dig a little farther back. One of the things I like doing when I'm researching the bands, I was a huge Love Battery fan in the 90s, but I did not know about Room 9 from the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Room 9 was actually pretty much all of our first band. And what happened is I went to high school with Scott Bogan and Scott Vanderpool, and that was the original incarnation of Room 9, who we later got together as Down with People.
Yeah.
And we started off playing like punk covers and post-punk. We were really, really influenced by like Joy Division, and then I was really influenced by kind of the 60s West Coast psychedelic sound, Jefferson Airplane and the Doors and things. Eventually Scott Vanderpool went to school over at Evergreen, and actually that's how I met Bruce Pavitt and a bunch of other people who went to school there. And, we got Sean Allen through an ad in the local music rag, The Rocket, and we played, one thing that I remember about Room 9, every show we were offered, we played. And, I was reading this quote by Larry Reed, who was the manager of the Human. He was going, yeah, Seattle is such a small market at the time. He was talking about Bam Bam, and he was going, you can get overexposed really easily. And I think, I just remember playing every weekend for the most part. And, it's hard we were just hungry. We didn't care if we got paid. We just wanted to play. Yeah. And we saved all our gig money to make the record, and yeah, it was, there was a lot of disappointment because several labels flew up to see us from LA, and nothing really developed out of that. And it was kind of a real up and down struggle. And I think that's what made us finally disband. And, it was right about that time that I was working at Muzak, and Bruce Pavitt had just started the Singles of the Month. And, he had already gotten jobs for all these musicians that he knew. And, Mark Arm, Chris Pugh, and Grant Ekman from the Walkabouts, and of course Tad, and all of us ended up putting out something on Sub Pop, and that was really cool. That was the beginning of Love Battery. Bruce going, "Hey Ron, if you get something together, I'll put it out." And I go, "Hell yeah," and that was basically, I went hunting for a band, for other band members, and I met Jason Finn, who introduced me to Kevin and Tommy Bonehead, and then Jason brought in Jim Tillman. It was really exciting. And it was amazing how the Sub Pop brand would just almost break down any door for you.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Did you guys think it was going to have the cult following that it does now at the time?
It was hard to say. It's kind of like the whole Nirvana thing. Everybody knew they'd be big, but when we thought of big, we thought of like Jane's Addiction or something. They're playing the local 2,000, 3,000 seat halls, and it was funny how through the savvy of John and Bruce, they hyped the label so well. It was just something. I felt like I was in the eye of the storm. I couldn't really see what was happening outside. But it was really exciting. It was just a lot of energy.
Wow.
And it was, looking back, I remember, working at Muzak, and Bruce had released, I think, the first single and EP from Mudhoney, and going to those early Mudhoney shows and just getting drawn in by the energy,
Absolutely.
It's pretty... Yeah.
Let's really change gears on you here. We need to talk about Purple Strange.
Yeah.
Features yourself, Jack Endino, Kurt Danielson, and is it Matthew Vandenberge? Is that right? Is that how I pronounce his last name?
I'm sorry, who?
Matthew Vandenberge.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know him as Vern. Other people know him as Matt. But, I believe it's Vanderberg, perhaps. I've never talked to him about his last name. I always call him Vern. And, Vern had actually been in a band. Him and Van Connor started the label Strange Earth, and they were in a band called Valis. And so Vern had actually, I think Kurt had actually done a stint in Valis, and that's how he knew Vern. And I think Vern was working with Jared Stroud, and who we all call Stroud, was talking to Kurt about being the bass player, and Kurt said, "Well, let's ask Ron." And that's how it started off, with Jack engineering. And while we were recording, Jack goes, "Oh, I was playing along to one of your songs, and I've got this part." And I go, "Oh man, that's awesome! Record it." And he ended up doing that for a bunch of songs, and it got to the point where no, he's got to be in the band, because when we play live, these parts are so integral. And the song that started it all was Sideways, and you can hear his guitar kick in like halfway through the verse, and I was just so blown away the way it kicked in, and the second half of the verse just went to another level. And he also does the lead at the very end in the outro. And I actually asked him lately, like, well, what key or what scale are you using for that lead? And because I was so blown away by it. People don't realize what a great musician Jack is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When we were kind of in between drummers there, he was playing drums all the time for practice, and he's really good. I think the drums were his first instrument.
He is. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Jeff, go ahead.
Purple Strange, I was just going to ask you, what's your plans next? Are you guys going to do any like a little tour or anything behind the album?
Well, we already have, I think, 9 new songs, and so we're itching to record them.
Nice.
And Scott Vanderpool, Vern says he's ready to come back and take over drums again. Of course, but now there's a new variant out, and we'll take it as it comes. But we have these new songs, and they're awesome. The first album, except for Sideways, was just Stroud kind of songs he had been working on for years and years, and then he gave them to us, and we kind of arranged them. And then Sideways, I just, I'll come up with the guitar chords and the verse, chorus, and maybe an outro or something. But then Stroud just like Katie did for Threads, just made it their song. Like they just took it and made the vocal melody and the lyrics, and so the new batch is a lot of just all of us contributing these bare bones songs, and again Stroud just doing his thing and making it into something really special. I really just like the timbre of his voice and his vocal style. I was blown away once we started getting the recordings down and hearing his vocal parts, because he has a very unique voice that you really don't hear much these days. And so, yeah. And so, yeah, we just played a show a couple of weeks ago, and it was a great time. And we are going to hopefully play some more and record those new songs.
Oh, so
nice.
Cool. We are excited for you. How do you view Purple Strange? Is it a long-term band, or is this more of a project for you?
Well, it started off more as a project. We were just trying to get those songs down that Stroud had already written. And then I contributed the, bare bones of another one. And we played a few gigs, and then, it was one of those things where out of the projects I wanted to do, everybody would show up for this one. So I was looking forward to a band where I didn't do any vocals and I could just play guitar. But, having said that, I'm just dying to now, start a band or get Love Battery going so I can do vocals.
Both.
Especially. and we'll see. Hopefully with the album coming out, we can do something. I can't imagine a tour, but in Seattle and Portland. But, we'll see what happens. I just got to take it take it at the here and now and not get too far ahead of myself.
Well, you did hear Jeff say, do both.
Yeah. I was a big Love Battery fan back in the day.
So there's no reason, Ron. There's so many musicians now that are doing 5 different things. You need to join the club. And then I also would love to just, now that, I'm tight with Jack and I would love to I've got all these songs left over from like Vaporland, even earlier, that I would like to record and maybe have different musicians on to kind of like make it different for every song, maybe some acoustic, some rockers, and that's still kind of in the planning stages, and I still have to work on songs and lyrics, but that's something I'd really like to do. Nice. Oh, fantastic. We're out of our allotted time for the night. Do you have any thing that you would like to plug or promote that we did not cover tonight?
No, just the new re-release, because that's for sure. And I'm hoping Purple Strange gets those new songs down, because I'm really, really happy with them, and they show a whole new side compared to the first album.
We are so excited. So this is how it's going to work. We have about 3 weeks worth of episodes to release before yours. So we're looking at about 3 weeks before Jeff has this all polished up and edited and ready to go. When that happens, we'll send you the link right away. And please share it to all your social media accounts that you have. That'd be fantastic.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
you're great.
We appreciate it.
All right, we'll be in touch.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And we'll be in touch with you in about 3 weeks, maybe 4 at the most, to have this sent out to you. And like I said, we'll share it to all of our social media accounts. And, hey, have a good one. It's been a pleasure.
You too. And say hi to Jack for me.
We definitely will.
I'll see him soon.
All
right.
Take care.
Thanks, you guys, for having me.
Absolutely.
I'll hear
Thank
from
you
you soon then.
Take care.
Bye.
pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you, then you plug out both their eyes. They roll the dice. Take your chances.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.